Oh, hi. Don't mind us. We're just sitting here talking football, waiting for the Buckeye game to start. Oh, did you want to join us? All right, then. This is the Curtis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis & Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT.
Live from Hollywood Casino Columbus, here's Tim May, the Big Cat Andy Katzenmoyer, and Anthony Rothman.
Oh, yeah. Pleased to have you aboard. We are at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Anthony Rothman with you. The Big Cat, Andy Katzenmoyer. We'll check in with our guy, Tim May, who's planted his flag in Happy Valley. We welcome you to the YouTube viewing as well, but we want you to come out here to the big ESPN bet party that we have at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Great food, the buffets, and, of course, the game on the massive screens. And we will have a damn good time out here because we got a top 5 matchup in Happy Valley. And it is Ohio State and Penn State, and Penn State's the higher-ranked team, yet Ohio State is the favorite. So a lot of things to shake out here. Big Cat, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I believe, I think I'm correct on this, that the last time these two met as a top 5, you were suiting up in scarlet and gray. I think the year was 1996, and I'll tell you what, you were at home at that point. My man, as I look to the sky, Demetrius Stanley, one of my dear friends, was 5 for 105 and a couple touchdowns, and Ohio State got a big victory. 96. Last time top 5, right, I believe, both of them.
Which is crazy.
It was close because I think the next year you played in it, it was like 2 versus 7. I think you guys were 7, they were 2. It was very borderline top 5. But this is the first top 5 we've had in that many years.
That's shocking to me, considering how good each program has been.
Well, and the interesting part about Ohio State owning this series, Kat, is that the games have always been compelling. They've been 4-quarter games, a turnover, a block kick, a pick six. There's always been something that's been a little out of the ordinary in this series because when I looked at the average margin of victory in some of these, it's been about 7.5. They're not blowouts. They're kind of grind-out games. You kind of don't know which way they're going. Even last year was an ugly game that Penn State probably figured they could win. They lost that game. And now we're back at Happy Valley. And I just get your thoughts. Let's go to last week. Any impact? Does that have any lingering effect for you, the way Ohio State kind of came out with a, I don't know, you could call it an Ohio State stinker because they won the game, but we measure them at different levels, and we just thought with 2 weeks coming out of Oregon, we were promised an angry team, and that they were trailing in the fourth quarter. You can praise the comeback at the end for sure, but give me your thoughts on the 2 weeks after Oregon into Nebraska and whether you think what lingers from that game for you that could carry into this one.
I mean, this is probably something that everyone's talked about across the country, but just Ohio State offensive line. I feel like Nebraska had a good job with their scheme coming out, stopping Ohio State run, making Ohio State pass the ball down the field, bringing pressure appropriately, and actually was getting home, which was, gave us a hard time to pass the ball down the field. Look, Nebraska is, the cliche is they're getting paid too. Like they have good players across the board. They came out competitive. I think Ohio State came out kind of flat. Whether it's the 2-week lull of being off or overlooking them, considering what happened the previous week against Indiana, and then going into this game against Penn State. But, again, it's the Big Ten. Like, if you watch every other conference around the country, their top teams struggle as well at times against other conference teams just because those teams know how to scheme against them. They have more experience playing against other common opponents. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
The interesting part for me, and listen, I think your point is well taken on that Nebraska defense had to have some pride. You can't get your butts kicked the way they did in Bloomington.
I mean, they were coming out in a bare front and saying, please run the ball. And that's hard to run against, period. Especially when you have missing key players on the offensive line where that cohesiveness just wasn't there. Now, was there scheme stuff that we could have done better? Absolutely. But in the moment, going into it, adjusting as needed. It's hard to take a new player, no matter how long they've been in Ohio State, put them into a position and then have to make adjustments as you go, that's just a challenge. The communication challenge from, especially because Chip Kelly's up in the press box trying to convey information down to sideline. Sideline then conveys that to the players, and then the players have to go out there and then play on the field. Like, there's just a lot of space between communication and how to execute.
Yeah, listen, week to week, we think we know, we assume we know, what's going to happen. We don't. College football this season has been kind of a wacky ride. We just thought that Ohio State, having played so tough at Oregon and having the loss, they'd have kind of a bitter taste in their mouth, and everyone thought that the people that were going to feel the brunt of that was going to be Nebraska.
Right.
That you were going to get, even though you got thrashed yourselves, you're not as talented as Ohio State. You're playing in the horseshoe. I just thought if you were Nebraska, boy, this is a bad time to get Ohio State. Coming off a bye, having that bitter taste in their mouth, and it didn't show itself. And I think that's where the concern is for Ohio State fan is not that they haven't owned this series. They have, and that may be what made Ohio State fans sleep pretty well last night. But there has to be some concern going into Happy Valley. Penn State has to feel like if they were going to get them, maybe they're a little gettable now, certainly with the offensive line. They've talked about establishing the run and continuing to do that. Where's your confidence that they can still do that, and how much they will try to say, hey, we're going to establish it no matter what?
Well, it's always the mantra from Chip Kelly's point of view. Like, he's always been known as spread you out, but he wants to run the ball. Whether it's his time in New Hampshire, out to no matter where he's been. Even when he went to Philly in the NFL, he tried to establish the run in his unique offense. That being said, you also have to take what the defense gives you. If the defense gives you one-on-one coverage on the outside, you take that because you have better receivers than they have cover guys, period. Yeah. You just have to make sure that you protect the quarterback, so if it's a 5 or 7 step drop, he has time to be able to read the field and throw the ball accurately to the person who's open, period.
Well,
and that didn't happen last week. For whatever reason, we couldn't block their pass rush. It wasn't that dramatic or that crazy or that innovative.
They didn't hold up.
No, they just didn't simply hold up. And so hopefully we've adjusted to that. It's not very hard, in my opinion. You keep a back end, keep a tight end in, whatever. But kind of the bad taste, I think for probably the fandom of Ohio State, was going for it early against Nebraska, 4th and 1, and getting stuffed. That just set the whole tempo of the rest of the game. And then you had injuries happen and this and that. But otherwise, Ohio State played a pretty good first half. And Nebraska wasn't as bad as everyone thought they were, period.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. The early 4th and 1, they lined up heavy on the right. There was no push at all. They get stuffed and right. It lets the other team think, okay,
we're in this game.
We can be in this game. All right, we go out to Happy Valley, and we join the third man of our crew, and that's Tim May. Tim, good morning to you.
Good morning. I thought you'd forgotten about me there for a minute. I felt sort of like an.
Who is this?
Oh no, buddy. Listen. We know you get paid by the word. We're not going to let you go broke today. Let me ask you this. So we just talked about this series with Andy, and he was a big part of it back in the '90s. And back then, we had these top 5, top 10 matchups. It seemed like actually every year he played. And I think did you go 2-1 against them, or was it? You remember?
Yeah, 2-1. We won both games at home and lost away.
Win.
In a shootout. Joe Germain threw for almost 400 yards, went crazy.
Yeah, all top 10 matchups. But today, Tim, it does feel like that running game is going to be needed. It's kind of one of those grinded-out games. You and I talked yesterday, and Andy just mentioned it. Will Howard's from there. He kind of threw down the gauntlet this week, that they didn't think I was good enough to play there. We'll see how good they think of me this week. Do you expect a traditional established the run attack from Chip Kelly, or do we see something odd right out of the gate?
Number one, you always got to figure out whether you can run the ball or not. Number two, it's too bad all the offensive linemen aren't from Pennsylvania also, if you follow my drift. So, you're going to find out. There's going to be a revamped offensive line for sure. We expect to see Donovan Jackson at left tackle unless something strange has happened in the last several days, and could be a revolving door there a little bit at left guard. But, they've got to come out and establish something. But like we talked about yesterday, Anthony, the bottom line that matters today is the end of the game. Did you win it or not? And nobody's going to care how you did it. This is not about style points. It's about putting points on the board the best way you can, which is what Ohio State did last week. So you don't want to trip over yourself trying to prove yourself, I guess is my point. And we'll see how it goes. But yeah, they can't be much worse than last week because they never figured out what Nebraska was doing on its defensive front. And that was kind of hard to watch at times. I mean, like I said to you, I think yesterday. I don't mean keep bringing up yesterday like the Beatles, but the bottom line was the crowd in the stadium, just like we were in the press box, were sort of bewildered about what they were seeing. A team that got beat 56-7 a week before by Indiana, and Ohio State can't move the ball on them on the ground. Are you kidding me? So the good news was Ohio State still has its big-time over-the-top aerial attack, and that saved the day.
Yeah, and hopefully all their troubles seem so far away from last week. We will find out when we talk to the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels. We'll just get started. We'll be talking to you throughout the show, obviously, and we'll break it down, this game and the coaches and the pressure and the implications of all of it. We've got a kickoff forecast that seems pretty darn good out there, sponsored by Byers Auto. Come see why it's better to buy from Byers. We're looking at 51 degrees, mostly sunny at kick, obviously in the 40s in the shade, but they'll top out in the middle to high 50s today in State College, PA. Good day for football. We come back and we check in with the voice of the Buckeyes. He helps us set the table for Ohio State and Penn State on the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. To inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns, call 614-232-2222. Or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck. Now through November 4th, get 1.9 APR financing or $2,000 customer cash on a new 24 Tundra. Excludes TRD Pro. Or lease a Tacoma SR Double Cab for $319 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Nobody builds better trucks than Toyota. Let's go places.
30% of D1 athletes report betting-related threats and harassment after games. This threatens the safety and mental health of students like Jade.
I'm a college athlete, and I'm more than a bet. When you threaten my life and my family because you lost money, it really scares me.
These threats are not acceptable. Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Attention small business or sole proprietors. Do you want to save money on health care for your business? Be able to cover your employees with the best dental, doctors, and hospitals? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter for the SACA Benefit Plan. Nearly 100,000 members strong in the state of Ohio. The SACA Benefit Plan is administered by Anthem and could be right for you. Small businesses, visit 844-medohio.com. That's medohio.com. The SACA Benefit Plan could be right for you. Visit 844-medohio.com.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand. Listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Football season is here, and so is tailgating season. Are you ready? If not, let Columbus Car Audio and Accessories help you get the latest and best accessories for your ride. Upgrade your sound system so everyone around can hear what team you're rooting for. Add mobile video and never miss a game on the road. Add style and privacy with window tint, and avoid scraping ice this winter by adding a remote starter. Choose Columbus Car Audio and Accessories when it comes to customizing your ride. Morse Road near Easton, Main Street in Reynoldsburg, or columbuscaraudio.com.
taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors.
Contact us today for the best service in town.
Bourne Brothers.
Bourne Brothers,
the real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
Innovation is at the heart of every Polestar car, and their electric SUV, Polestar 3, is no different. From the intuitive infotainment system to its head-turning design, Polestar 3 is for drivers unwilling to compromise. That means merging a spacious, luxurious interior with the torque and handling of a sports car. Visit Polestar Columbus today for competitive lease offers and book a test drive for Polestar 3 at polestarcolumbus.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Federal Elite Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Hello, I like football. I have nothing clever to say. This is the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination. It's time for the Big Daddy Report with the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. The Waterworks Plumbing and Drain team can break through any block. We're standing by to take your call at 614-232-2222. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
All right, welcome back to Hollywood Casino Columbus. We've got you covered in Columbus and, of course, State College, PA, where we check in, of course, our chat with Paul Keels, the voice of the Buckeyes, sponsored by the Waterworks Plumbing, Drain, Heating, and Cooling, a very proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Anthony. How are you?
Outstanding. I hope you are as well. You've called many games over there. The atmosphere, we always try to get your feeling. How much different, a noon game in Happy Valley versus the night game? We've talked about it all week that maybe Ohio State fans should feel a little bit of bonus that this wasn't at night.
Well, and it was a noon game last time you came over here, and the last few at home have been noon games, so it's not so unusual. But I can tell you that in the little short ride that we had coming over here, it didn't seem to halt any of the pregame festivities, if you want to look at it that way. Folks are out milling around, getting their groove on, doing everything. But, once everybody gets in here, the team starts warming up, all of the stuff that gets Penn State fans, like any place is, all riled up. I don't think you'll really notice any difference. Is it a break that it's not a night game? Possibly, because we know that when there's more hours in the day to prepare, that certainly creates a certain atmosphere.
Yes, an elongated elongated pregame is always fun. Let me get your take on Will Howard. This is, when he came to Ohio State, Ryan Day likes to say he came here for these types of big games. He played big in the Oregon game despite the loss and, of course, the last-second disappointment. But he is a kid from PA. You heard him this week say that he dreamed of going there, didn't think he was good enough to play there. They didn't, and he's ready to show him today. That was a pretty confident young man coming out of the Nebraska game going into this one. This one seems personal to him.
Well, it does, but he should be confident also because of the way he's played. We've talked about it the last few weeks. He's, had 3 games, the last 3 games, where he's completed better than 80% of his passes. The interesting part will be to see what different occurs with he and with the offense, given some of the concerns that may be there at the offensive line. Or everybody likes to ask, are they holding things back? Might there be some things that they do differently with him that they've not shown? We've seen them show his running ability and plays that he's been able to make. I don't know that we've seen a whole lot of what you would call called runs. And we haven't seen him tear off a nice long one that we heard all of the discussion about in the summer practice that he was able to do. So, but yeah, this will be big for him. But it's also one of those you hope that a guy doesn't push too much, try to do too much, and get outside of his own barrier.
Absolutely. Yeah, obviously it's been well talked about. Oregon lost that break, and then we go out last week and don't really impress against Nebraska. What are some early signs that you're looking for this week when it comes to Ohio State either offensively or defensively, and kind of how the game's going to go?
Well, Andy, I think the first thing is just to see them have success converting on third downs. And Ryan Day talked about it during the week, having better success on first down to make the third downs a little more manageable. I mean, it's just amazing that they still won the football game last week, going 1 for 10 for third downs. Are they able to sustain some nice long drives, keeping the ball away from Penn State's offense? And then defensively, can they get pressure on the quarterback, whether it is Drew Aller or whether it is Bo Pribula? Are they able to create some bad choices there, bad decisions, negative plays? And, maybe the biggest thing, too, for the defensive side is just keeping an eye on Tyler Warren, their incredibly talented tight end who lines up all over the field, moves all over the field. How are they going to be able to try and, I don't know if you can completely stop him, but how are they going to try and maintain him and keep him from having a big breakout game like he had when they played Southern Cal?
Big thing, Paul, this is Tim May. The big thing is you still want him to have a big breakout run or pass reception, right? Just keep him contained. I wanted to ask you, man, you've been over it quite a few times. Your biggest memory, the one that just is seared in your brain, did that really happen kind of play, and I'm thinking back most recently, of the like the Joey Bosa shove sack, in overtime there, when that was a real turning point for that 2014 Ohio State team. But what jumps into your brain?
That's one of them. Certainly, we talked about it, I think, on Buckeye Roundtable, the game where Scott McMullen had to come in place of the injured Craig Krenzel and throw a game-winning touchdown pass to Michael Jenkins. Also remember, a lot of folks can harken back to the year that Joe Paterno set the all-time wins record, but that was the last time that Ohio State scored on their very first scrimmage play of the game. Steve Bellisari threw a touchdown pass to Michael Jenkins on the very first play.
That's right.
There's some like that, and obviously you mentioned the Bosa walk-off sack, and Braxton Miller with down the goal line to our right here, where he started forward, moved backwards, and then went forward again. And those are the kind of things that happen when you get these kind of teams with these kind of athletes going up against one another.
Yeah, real quick follow on that. You notice the new end zones right now without the block letters. They've got the script Penn State in them, which is kind of an interesting look, right?
It is. It's a little different. That was, when the guys were setting up yesterday and they sent a picture from the booth here, that was interesting to see. But, that's really the only thing that's changed. Everything else is kind of, for those of us that have been fortunate to come over here for a number of years, everything's the same, not the least of which is all of the RVs and all of the people that surround the stadium with their pregame activities.
Hey, Paul, I got a question for you.
Sure.
I hated playing at Penn State. I hated the atmosphere. Like, it was just. I mean,
you said you loved the cat. You loved.
I hated the cat meow, whatever it was. Every time I got a first down, it just drove me crazy. How's it like for you to call a game in that kind of atmosphere?
We get a kick out of it, and I'll tell you a story, Andy, and here's why. Number of years ago, and as you guys know, our half our crew gets over here and sets up, Colin Behringer, DR Railsback, and Skip Mosick. And it was a number of years ago when Skip was over here with the guys getting set up, and he found the guy for the sound system, and he just went up to him and said, "Hey, let me tickle the lion one time. Let me tickle him one time." He wanted to push the button to make the lion growl, and they let him do it. So every time I hear it, I just laugh thinking about Skip asking the guy to tickle the lion.
Well, I can't stand that damn line.
Was it because you were focusing on what you were trying to do on the field?
No, we just couldn't stop them, and it was just annoying. And so it was just one of those games where we just couldn't, like, our defensively, everything we tried, we just couldn't stop Penn State. They ran all over us. They threw all over us. We ended up losing the game, so I'm just salty, and it's been all these years, and I'm just now airing it out.
Understand.
Well,
so that's all.
From Penn State's point of view, Andy, they would say it's working. Right. Work to get you.
Right, mission accomplished.
Yeah. Paul, you talked to the coach this week, and certainly no one publicly would want to say that they would abandon the run of any kind, but are you anticipating something more creative to try to help the offensive line today?
I would think so, whether it's, screens, whether it's, I don't know if they would, throw in something like an option or anything like that, but certainly something to try and help that. And, we're all going to be anxious to see what happens with the offensive line. The anticipation is that Zen Michalski is not going to play. Donovan Jackson most likely will move out to tackle, and we'll have to see who they put at that left guard spot, whether it's Luke Montgomery, whether it's Austin Saraveld, whether it's Carson Hinsman. But there's got to be some things that they'll do. And not only just to help the offensive line, Anthony, but also just to create, without getting too far afield from what they normally do, but to create a little different vision for Penn State.
Yeah, all eyes will be on warm-ups, maybe more than most today for that offensive line, and see how they line up. Paul, thank you very much.
You got it, guys.
We'll talk to you towards the end of the show. Thanks.
All right, you got it. Have fun.
Yep, that is the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels. We will come back and really identify the players and who needs to shine today in this top 5 matchup in Happy Valley. Game day coverage is sponsored by Reichert Chevrolet on the Fan. This is Ohio's sports destination.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
Every hockey player dreams of a hat trick.
And if you've ever seen one, you know it's a thrill when the hats hit the ice.
And now, it's hats off to Honda Marysville, because this season, every time a Blue Jacket scores a hat trick at Nationwide Arena,
Honda Marysville will give one lucky fan a 2-year lease on a new Honda Civic Sport on the spot.
So come to a game and cheer us on. Who knows?
A new car from Honda Marysville might be closer than you think.
Official rules at HondaMarysville.com/hat trick.
Combat falling interest rates now. Lock in a 7-month certificate from Kemba Financial Credit Union and earn up to 4.5% annual percentage yield. Visit Kemba.org for details. Hurry! This exceptional rate offer expires December 31st, 2024. APY equals annual percentage yield. Restrictions apply. $500 minimum deposit required to open and earn stated APY, and $250,000 maximum deposit. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I cannot imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life.
There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
Rise and shine, jabronis.
What a show this morning.
There's only one place where Buckeye legends lay the smackdown. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekday mornings starting at 6.
Give me a juice box, Biatch.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Kurgis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Kurgis & Associates. Attorneys who care.
Atlas Butler is built to keep you comfortable, and our plumbing services are no exception. You can rely on Atlas Butler for trusted, convenient plumbing and drain service. Our expert plumbers and drain specialists can take care of anything, from a broken water heater to a clogged drain. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
When the leaves fall, so do the prices at Valley. Right now, choose from over 1,000 available new Fords. Take your pick from over 70 2024 Ford Broncos at up to $14,000 off. Lease a new Escape Active, just $289 a month for 36 months. Drive away a new Bronco Sport, over 80 to choose from, starting at only $26,990. Get to Valley Ford of Columbus today, the official dealership of Carnell Tate.
Keep on trucking with Valley Ford of Columbus.
Get all your holiday shopping done in just one stop with early holiday deals at Meijer. Save big this week on gifts for everyone. For the competitive ones on your list, select puzzles and board games are buy two, get one free. Share the sense of the season with Yankee Candle products. Buy one, get one for $1. And for those who believe that bigger is always better, save $200 on an Element 65-inch Zumo TV. Shop even more great gift ideas like these in the Meijer Holiday Gift Guide. Available on Meijer.com, in-store, or in the Meijer app. Exclusions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. This is the Fans Game Day Scoreboard.
Brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus.
Good morning. Buddy Wells. We had one top 25 team in action last night as number 15 Boise State rolled San Diego State 56-24. Ashton Genty had 149 yards and 2 touchdowns to help the Broncos improve to 7-1. Taking a look at today's college football slate, of course, the biggest game of the day takes place in Happy Valley. That's where 4th-ranked Ohio State will take on number 3 Penn State. The Buckeyes and Nittany Lions kick off at noon today at Beaver Stadium. Other top 5 teams in action today. Number 1 Oregon is in Ann Arbor to face Michigan. Also, number 2 Georgia faces Florida and Jacksonville. Those 2 games will kick off at 3:30. Also at noon today, Duke is in South Beach to take on number 5 Miami. One other top 25 matchup today has number 18 Pittsburgh taking on number 20 SMU. That game kicks off at 8 o'clock tonight. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, your connection for the best selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified used vehicles. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
Rothman wakes up every morning next to a bottle of gin and says, "Today's a good day for a Buckeye victory." Well, today he happens to be right. You're listening to the Kurgis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Kurgis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. He's so money.
Sponsored by Kemba Financial Credit Union.
All right, back at it. Hollywood Casino Columbus. High noon today in Happy Valley. Ohio State goes in with an L on the resume. They do not want to come out with 2. They do not want to play with fire in this new college playoff expanded deal. However, it doesn't mean that the team that loses this game is out of it. We know that. But, boy, would that feel weird if Ohio State had 2 L's before they get into the meat of November. But here we are. They've got a lot of motivation. We know they've won 11 of the last 12 in this series, Kat. We know they've got 7 straight wins in this series. They have dominated, but I pointed out earlier, they've been close. They've been compelling. They've been fourth quarter kind of games, mostly. A block kick here, a pick 6 there, a great sack here. You know, you just don't know who's going to make the play today. But we talked about it earlier. This offensive line is going to be tested today against this defensive front from Penn State. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Donovan Jackson, you talked about it, you know, slid out to left tackle. He could continue that role this week. They've got other guys there. It seems like the key to everything. I know that they can throw it, but the offensive line would still have to hold up for Will Howard to do that. But, you know, I was talking earlier this week on, you don't feel like this isn't the Oregon game. This isn't like you got to outscore the other one by a big margin. It doesn't feel like you got to get into the 30s to win this game. So maybe that kind of bodes well for Ohio State. This is a defense. If you can cap Penn State at a certain amount of points, maybe the defense can lead the way for Ohio State. We put a lot of emphasis on the offensive line, and we should. You got to score to win. But how do you balance your mind today on what it's going to take to beat Penn State points-wise?
Well, I think, you know, there's been a lot of emphasis on the offensive line, and the offense and the defense, obviously special teams, all of those play a pivotal role of all meshing together and working for the same game plan, for the same goals and all that stuff. And so the reason why, you know, it's important to have a cohesive offensive line is simply to keep the Penn State offense off the field. You know, if we can control the ball, run it, dictate how we want to move the ball, whether it's between big plays, screen passes, run the ball, ground and pound, even quarterback runs. Like, we have to have a cohesive offensive line working together.
It's the third and longs that I think would bother me a lot today for Ohio State.
I don't see anything wrong with sitting back and giving Howard more protection and more time to let our great receivers run amazing routes and get open. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's other teams do it. There's times where you do max protection and based on what the front. But if we're having a hard time early on blocking guys one-on-one like we tried to do last week, I don't know why we don't change up our blocking scheme. I'm sure they had that in the game plan and talked about it. But release less guys. Instead of running 3 and 4 wide receivers and a single back, bring some tight ends in to help either chip or space out the defensive front for blitzing, and then giving our offensive line the best opportunity to hold up.
Yeah.
And then if just like last week, if Ohio State feels pressure, and Will Howard sees an opening, he can scamper for 10, 15, maybe even 30 yards.
Yeah.
From every now and again. So.
I don't know. I agree with that point. And like Tim May, and we'll bring him back in from Happy Valley. And your point was the same thing, which is go get it any way you can today. And before the Wisconsin game, Tim, that Penn State defense, 6th in FBS in total yards given up per game. That's why I kind of bring up the don't want to be in third and long, and that seems obvious. But Abdul Carter, Denai Dennis Sutton, those guys on the end, Zane Durant, the kid in the middle who's kind of smaller but quick and athletic, they're pretty solid at all 3 levels. So give me your best take on, this establishing the run, which Ohio State hasn't been able to do lately. They didn't do it against Nebraska, and they certainly didn't do it last year against Penn State.
Well, I was sitting here, I was on mute, but I was yelling amen as like to Pastor Andy Katzenmoyer there as he was going through what you should do. Absolutely. You do what you do best, and I think what Ohio State does best going into this game is throws the ball better than anybody in the Big Ten as far as I'm concerned, even Oregon. So, you win this one any way you can. So I'm sitting here, amen to brother Andy, because he hit the nail on the head. You also, you don't expect guys who have been backups to suddenly become All-Americans, in 1 week or two. And I'm talking about on the offensive line. You keep things as basic for them, I think, as you can. You lean on the guys you can lean on, but the bottom line is, this is a game you're going to have to throw the ball anyway to win it, in my opinion. That's the way these games have always turned, on big plays, most of them in the passing game, a few breakouts. But the bottom line is you got to be able to throw the ball. You got to be able to protect Will Howard. And Will Howard's got to, in some ways, protect himself, getting out on the edge on occasion, scrambling around, giving the big-time receivers even more time to get open. So whatever works is what they should do, and not just, like I said, beat their head against a concrete wall trying to run the ball. Now, they might line up and find out they can run the ball fairly well today. I'm expecting they're going to stay pretty basic in the running game and just do what they do best, which is just charge, straight ahead. And by straight ahead, I'm using that euphemistically, but keep it simple, stupid, and just see if you can wear on these guys a little bit. Wisconsin had some success. They just had a quarterback who in the second half, he and his receivers, either he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn or they were on the wrong side of the barn. So I think you do what you do best, which Ohio State is throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, who was huge last week when he needed to be. Yes, the 3-headed monster wide receiver is alive and well.
Yeah, I mean, they only completed 13 passes last week. That's just strange. They did complete some big ones. And I think we thought that once they were up 14-3 with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, they were going to put the cleat on Nebraska's throat.
Yes. Right.
They couldn't do it.
Well, the nice thing was about last week, I guess one of the highlights was completing 2 deep balls, which I don't think we've done all year. We've taken a lot of stuff, to the house on short passes.
Both on first downs.
Right.
When Nebraska expected run and the play action was effective.
Right.
So we'll see if.
And the pass to Tate to get the pass to Tate to get the winning drive going was huge. Also out in the right flat, nobody was there but him, and was a 32, 38-yard play. And you get those big chunks where you can find them.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the huge thing about Carnell Tate coming out big last week was now Penn State and everyone else has to account for him. Not that they didn't before, but he hasn't really put up big numbers. Where last week he had over 100 yards receiving, touchdown, and now he's on everyone's radar again, like he's back.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt they have the weapons. They just got to be able to hold up. And there were times even against Nebraska where they went empty backfield, and they just didn't hold up. He just didn't have time. Even when he sprinted out, they didn't have time.
Well, so the funny thing is, the thought about going empty is to put pressure, and so Nebraska couldn't do what they were doing with the rush.
Right.
But Nebraska's like, no, we're gonna stay with our game plan, and we're gonna bring the pressure and put the pressure on the offensive line and the quarterback to make a play quickly. And
because when they were dropping 8, that's when they actually gave up the big play.
Right. So that didn't work. Yeah. And I mean, those coaches over there and those players, they have good players. They don't have the depth of personnel that Ohio State has, but they still have good players. They're probably a year or two away from being good.
Yeah, ultimately, Nebraska died on that hill. You know what I mean? I mean, they gave Ohio State everything it could handle, and it couldn't handle, and then finally ended up dying on that hill. So it is what it is. Ohio State figured out a way to drive the ball for its winning score and then hang on Sloopy defensively in the fourth quarter, and proved a point, really, in Ryan Day's mind. But now you want to see it back again in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, you thought that moment, if Dylan Raiola was going to dream up a moment, Andy, it was that moment. It was a 3:30 left. I've got a couple timeouts. I got a chance to lead my team down at the Horseshoe and beat Ohio State. As a young quarterback, that would have been the moment. And Ohio State's defense was very good at the end. He couldn't throw the ball downfield. Nebraska, they got him behind the chains, behind schedule, and that's what sealed up the game, and they may have to do that again today. When we come back, we will get some expert analysis on this O-line and what Jim Lachey expects from it today. The He's So Money segment, sponsored by Kemba Financial Credit Union. This is the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show. Remember, they don't get paid unless you get paid right here on The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else. Like America's best-selling car, Toyota Camry. It's all hybrid all the time with available all-wheel drive. Now through November 4th, you can lease a Camry LE for $299 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Gambling too much or just can't seem to cut your losses? I'm Abdullah Mahmood, pub and gambling counselor at Maryhaven. Whether it's you or someone you love, we're here to help you control gambling before it controls you. With in-person, virtual, and group options, Maryhaven is here for you no matter what. And that's a bet you can actually count on this football season. Confidential and judgment-free, go to maryhaven.com today. That's maryhaven.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
In honor of Veterans Day, we're celebrating those who have given the ultimate sacrifice by giving back to Tunnel to Towers. Get to Twin Peaks and donate $5 to Tunnel to Towers through November 30th and receive $5 back to spend on yourself at Twin Peaks this December. Valid at participating locations.
Sunday Night Football on the Fan. Catch the Colts and Vikings from Minneapolis. Live coverage starts Sunday at 7:30.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Your radio home of the NFL, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Football is built on tradition, and so is the Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. With a lifetime powertrain warranty on every vehicle purchase, you know you're getting a relationship that's built to last. Need service? Our Carvenience service takes care of everything, from picking up your vehicle to dropping it off when it's done, leaving you with a rental car in between. And with 4 dealerships and a collision center, Hinderer Motor Company is your one-stop shop for all things automotive. Visit HindererMotorCompany.com. We love what moves you.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors. Contact us today for the best service in town. Bourne Brothers.
Bourne Brothers.
The real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
Hear that? That's the sound of Bernie Moreno shredding evidence to avoid paying his employees. You see, Moreno refused to pay his employees the overtime pay they earn, so they sued him. And after a court ordered Moreno to keep the evidence of his wage theft, what did he do? That's right, he shredded it. Moreno even admitted to shredding evidence in court. He was found liable for wage theft, and a court forced him to pay over $400,000. Innocent people don't shred evidence. And now that Bernie Moreno is running for Senate, he doesn't want to talk about how he was caught ripping off his employees. And that begs the question, do you want a guy like that representing you in the Senate? Bernie Moreno, you can't trust him to be for you. The United Association of Plumbers and Pipefitters paid for and is responsible for the content of this ad. UA.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A clear and cool start to your Saturday morning with light winds, temperatures in the mid-30s. During the afternoon, plenty of sunshine, light winds back in low 60s. And then for Sunday, more sunshine, a few late-day clouds, and the chance of a shower Sunday night. High temperatures in the upper 60s. With your Doppler 10 forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
It's game day on The Fan.
Sponsored by Reichert Chevy.
Have fun. Keep your pads on. Go Bucks. Always and forever your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. You're listening to the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT.
Every game, every season, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. It's time to check in with Buckeye color analyst and president of the Large Hand Society, Jim Lachey.
Sponsored by Schmitz. Why tailgate when you can Schmidtgate?
All right, the focus on this game is on this man's former position that he took to an expert level, and that's our friend Jim Lachey. Jim, good to have you.
Great to be with you, Anthony.
Thank you, sir. Let me get right to where we want to talk about this game, the targets on the offensive line. It's got to be frustrating for them. It's frustrating for you to watch and analyze, but maybe the key is the switch around here. Give me your take on Donovan Jackson and maybe playing a position he hasn't played at the collegiate level, and all of a sudden going out to left tackle and the challenge of that. Is that what you expect, and what do you think will happen?
No, that's what I do expect. I think Donovan will be the left tackle today. You know, he's got a chance to work at that a little bit in practice this week, and he's ready for the challenge. You know, he's one of our best offensive linemen, and, you know, I talked about earlier this week, you want to put your most athletic guy over there at left tackle, and I think Donovan will have that opportunity today with the injuries to, you know, Josh Simmons and then Zen Mahosky. You know, he's the next man up. Two-time All-Big Ten football player. He's going against, you know, and I'm sure Abdul Carter will be lined up over him. And, you know, he was a first-team All-Big Ten, you know, defensive end linebacker type last year. And I think he matches up well, you know, size-wise. If Carter was 6'6", you know, 265, something like that, where he's a little bit longer, I think it would have been a little bit tougher challenge for Donovan Jackson. But with, you know, Carter being at 6'3", 252-ish, I think height-wise, you know, move-wise, quickness-wise, I think they can match up well. And, you know, obviously the coach has got to help him out a little bit too, you know, with the play calling, moving the pocket around, bootlegging, things like that, just to give, you know, him an opportunity to get, you know, so he's not just one-on-one the whole game, and, you know, have some opportunities to, you know, chip guys in route, things like that, just to, you know, give him a go. But as we know, Carter's a good football player. He has been the last couple of years, probably their most experienced defensive player. And then, you know, number 33, denied Dennis Sutton. You know, he's been nicked up, so we'll watch him throughout pre-games to see what his status is. He had that growing injury last week against Wisconsin, and I think he hurt it like late in the second quarter and didn't really tried to come out in the third quarter and play from looking at that film, and just couldn't give it a go. So if he's out, that obviously will help Ohio State a little bit, and we'll see how they match up. But I think Donovan's ready for that challenge. He's a veteran type football player. He's had a lot of experience underneath his belt, and now he's going to have to go help his team, go from guard and tackle. And, I played guard in college and tackle in the NFL. There's not a whole lot difference. It's just basically third down pass sets where it's third and long, things like that. If you're in 4 and 5 wides, that's you're out there on an island, so to speak. So that'll be the big difference for him, not having those bodies right next to him. But again, coaching wise, you can kind of put some bodies next to him to get him that feel of being inside.
So, Jim, you and I both played in scenarios where we've had new teammates that we haven't really played a lot with. That communication of that, just giving a guy a look or whatever, and you guys are both on the same page as far as making the adjustment or change and whatever's happening. How much of a challenge is that going to be today as far as the communication between having new personnel on the offensive line and making sure that everyone is on the same page?
No, you're right, Andy. When you're playing, next to a guy for a year or two, he can grunt, and you know what he means. I mean, you just know by the sound of the grunt, like, yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm seeing the same thing you are.
Yep.
But if it's not, then you're kind of looking and like, I hope he understands what I'm saying there. I hope he got that point across. And you don't want to go into that game hoping. You want to know for sure. And so that's something that you're going to have to work on, especially when there's 110,000 people and they're going to be extremely loud every down, but especially on third downs when you have to get that communication out. And, that's why I got a feeling you might see a little bit more of Carson Hintzman at that left guard spot. Even though he hasn't really played left guard, he started at center last year. He's got game experience, 12 starts underneath his belt. And, let's face it, he was 11-0 as a center for Ohio State last year. And, didn't get a chance to play in the bowl game. And, I think it's an opportunity for him to come out there and get some playing time this week at that left guard spot. Just the fact that way they're not messing up that right side, moving guys around. Keep Tegra over at guard, Austin over at guard, because those guys both kind of played a little bit of that last week. Josh obviously been at right tackle the whole year, and then keep Seth at center. So we'll see how they work that out, but that's my gut feeling. He'll get some opportunities to go out and play. He's got to be hungry. He hasn't really played much except in, mop-up duty at the end of the game. So knowing him, he's going to want this opportunity and, find a way where he can nail down a job again with the injuries they've had. So, but that communication is so important, and passing calls down. And that's kind of also good to have another center type with Carson because, he sees the same things that Seth sees, being at center, and he can communicate those things and understand what he has to do. And, usually in a loud stadium, one of those guards is looking back at the quarterback, kind of making sure when he's ready, and then he'll tap the center on the behind and say, okay, we got all our calls done. It's time. It's going to be quick. The ball's going to be snapped, pretty quick after that. So I think he has that experience, in those games, and, he should be hungry for his opportunity too.
Nice.
Go ahead, Tim.
Plus he's gone against Penn State. He knows a little bit about Penn State, and so I think that's good enough. Yeah. Real quick, Jim, looking on the other side of the ball, I mean, almost everybody in the world is now challenged this Ohio State defensive front four. Forget about front seven or six, but defensive front four to make something happen. Obviously, last week the Buckeyes got 3 sacks, but then everybody's nitpicked that, but those are with blitzes. I mean, nobody's ever satisfied. What do you sense about? We all know what JT Tuimoloau did over here 2 years ago. It still resonates, I think, even with Penn State fans. But what do you expect out of that group today?
No, they're going to have to lead this team, and why not get a defensive score? Come up with a pick six or a turnover or something like that, because when your offense is beaten up a little bit, the other side of the ball, all 3 phases have to step up. Special teams, but defense has had some opportunities, and you're right, JT's had some experience here and had some good games. So when he flips on the tape from 2 years ago, he's probably sitting like, yeah, look at me, I had a good game, and maybe that'll carry over a little bit. But he's had success going against their tackles. Now, they got Donko, number 68, the right tackle, who's got nicked up a little bit in that game. And, he's supposedly a game-time decision. again, we'll watch throughout pregame warm-ups to find out if he's going to be good to go. And if not, you'll see Rucci in their number 72, who's got a little bit of experience. He transferred over from Wisconsin, so he's played in some big games himself. But there's an opportunity for our defense, I think, to carry our team a little bit. And obviously, I think the most important thing when you're going against Penn State is lining up, finding where number 44 is lined up, and don't give him any free releases down the field, because Tyler Warren has been pretty much almost half of their offense as far as the passing game. He's got 47 receptions. The next closest guy has 22. So he's their go-to guy. So through 8 games, he's averaging about 7 yards or 7 catches per game, and you got to find out where he is and make sure that he's affected. And whether it's Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, whoever's got him in pass coverage, has to do an outstanding job. And then all the exotic stuff. Obviously at USC, everybody saw that play where he lined up at center, was able to creep out. I was talking to Coach Day on Thursday. What they do defensively is they'll cut all those up and just go over each situation. Okay, if we see this formation, this is how we're going to handle it. This is who's got the coverage and how they can defend it. And so they got to understand all their tendencies. Yeah, right. Call timeout to talk about it a little bit more. Although Coach Day doesn't seem like to use those timeouts for those type of situations. But, again, if it's a big play, a big time in the game, you got to make sure everybody's on the same page. And, number one, anytime your defense, you got to stop the run. And, they got some pretty good backs in Singleton and Allen. Both those guys have been around. They're probably, if you look around the league, the 2 backs that kind of match up what Ohio State backs had for their, say, first 5 ball games, where they were able to run it downhill and make some plays. And, it just seems like forever since we ran for 200 yards against Iowa. Haven't had 200 yards since that ball game, hardly. So this is an opportunity for that running game to get cranked up for Ohio State against this defense. Take some pressure off, take some time off the clock, and keep their offense off the field.
Yeah, should be outstanding, as it usually is in this series. Jim, thanks so much. We'll look forward to the call.
Appreciate it, guys. Talk to you soon.
You got it. Jim Lachey segment sponsored by Schmidt Sausage House. Why tailgate when you can Schmidtgate? When we come back on the Tailgate Show, the pressure on both of these coaches, we know it's there. What are the implications of the winning or losing of this game? It is massive. We will come back. The Kurgis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show right here on The Fan.
There's nothing Bo Bishop can't do well, except find competent co-hosts. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Kurgis and Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Kurgis and Associates. Attorneys who care.
Reichert Chevy's dealing in Dublin. That means we got the car you need at the price you want. But don't take it from me. Hear it from
Ohio State captain Travion Henderson.
Reichert has what I'm looking for.
Jack Sawyer.
Grew up watching these guys on TV. My family's bought tons of cars for them.
Cody Simon.
You get the right car at Reichert.
With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car.
$2,500 low price guarantee.
Shop hundreds of vehicles at ReichertChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. We're dealing.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. Remember that day I invented the everything bagel? That was a heck of a day, Jerry. I was right there in line.
Get Eco.
I saw the onion bagel and the poppy seed bagel and the sesame bagel, and I thought, imagine if one bagel could give you everything you need. You changed the world that day, Jerry.
Get Eco.
I think Eco is just like that for homeowners in Ohio. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians. One company, one call, everything you need.
Get Eco.
Eco is a complete ecosystem of home services all under one roof. Ooh, that is a good one. Big things, small things, projects that require a little of this and that. Eco has the whole ecosystem equally covered.
Get Eco.
What if one day someone comes up with a new thing you can put on a bagel? Well, I've already patented everything, Aaron. Nobody can claim everything plus one. You're a wise man, Jerry. I'm making a fortune, Aaron.
Get Eco.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Now you can ship the delicious flavors of Schmidt sausages to any tailgate around the country. Send a taste of Columbus tradition to your favorite fan base, wherever they may be.
Just place your order, and Schmidt's will package up their famous sausages and sides ready for the grill on game day. Go to schmidthaus.com/shop and use coupon code TAILGATE and receive 15% off your purchased order. Why tailgate when you can Schmidtgate?
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I cannot imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life.
There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
When the leaves fall, so do the prices at Valley. Right now, choose from over 1,000 available new Fords. Take your pick from over 70 2024 Ford Broncos at up to $14,000 off. Lease a new Escape Active, just $289 a month for 36 months. Drive away a new Bronco Sport, over 80 to choose from, starting at only $26,990. Get to Valley Ford of Columbus today, the official dealership of Carnell Tate.
Keep on trucking with Valley Ford of Columbus.
This is the Fans Game Day Scoreboard.
Brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus.
Good morning, I'm Buddy Wells. We'll start with some scores from last night in hockey. The Blue Jackets fell at home to the Winnipeg Jets, 6-2. The CBJ are back on the ice this afternoon as they face the Capitals in D.C. Face-off is at 5 p.m. In the NBA, the Cavaliers improved to 6-0 last night with a 120-109 win over the Orlando Magic. Next up, Cleveland is at Milwaukee tonight. Tip-off against the Bucks is at 8. In college football, 15th-ranked Boise State cruises to a 56-24 win over San Diego State. Heisman hopeful Ashton Jeanty had 149 yards and a pair of scores in the Broncos win. And as we turn the page to today, it's one of the biggest matchups of this regular season as number 4 Ohio State is in Happy Valley to face number 3 Penn State. They'll kick off at noon today at Beaver Stadium. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, your connection for the best selection of Ford Broncos and Broncos sports. Breaking sports news when it happens here on The Fan.
Are you ready for another Buckeye victory? Because we sure are. You're listening to the Curtis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis & Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HEARD. That's 614-GOT-HEARD.
Your flagship home for Ohio State football. The Fan.
Yep, we're getting closer. Ohio State 3-point favorites at Penn State today. Kind of kicked around a little bit. It was 3.5. So it crossed the key number, and then it came back to 3. So here we are, Ohio State favorite on the road. Everybody knows the implications of what's happening with the pressure on both coaches. Franklin 1-8 against top 5 teams. Day is 2-7. The question that's been bounced around all week is who needs it more, and I guess you could, and I made the case yesterday that Ryan Day actually needs it more, and I don't mean that from that Franklin doesn't. What I mean that by is I just go back to expectations before the season. I did not look at Penn State as being a national title contender, but here they are at number 3. I did look at Ohio State like everybody else did with the expectations of at least a semifinal or bust, and their own players, Will Howard and a couple players, were putting in a championship or bust. So that would tell me when you already have a loss on your resume that Ryan Day would need it more. I just think and Andy, I think that Ohio State is, most people even with a loss, look at Ohio State as a legit top 5 team. And I think Penn State's in the prove to me you belong in the top 5 campaign still. I just think that's the narrative around. And they could. If they prove it today and beat Ohio State, then they will be legit and it will solidify them. And the one thing I can tell you about Penn State, and I do praise them for this, all year long we've been kind of tiptoeing around, well, this is where they're going to get got. at West Virginia in the opener, and they pounded them. We thought that'd be a very tough place for them to play. Then the USC game where they needed 2 fourth-down completions in the fourth quarter, which they did, and I give Aller credit for that they completed 2 pressure passes and won that game. We thought maybe they get caught looking ahead to Ohio State and get caught at Wisconsin last Saturday night, and they got a pick 6 and turn the game around. So all Penn State has done is win their game. So I got to give them praise for that. But I do look at these two teams differently just based on my own expectations. And that's why I lean towards Ryan Day needing this more. Not just we're doing the show in Columbus, Ohio, just because I knew what I thought their expectations were before the season started.
Right. Well, Ohio State going into the season, it was very well known they were all in. Like, they were bringing in the best coaching, the best players to fill in gaps that they feel like, that they needed, and they were 100% all in. Penn State was a team kind of lying in that second tier in the Big Ten. They've gone out and won every game. They look good. All they can do is win and beat the opponents they're playing. The back-to-back against USC, going to California, and then going to Wisconsin, and then you have the third game in that trifecta of Ohio State. That's a tough 3-game stretch for any Big Ten team, and for Penn State to come out in those first 2 games and to really show they had, they were down early against USC. Then they got rolling, and that tight end went crazy. He was like 200-plus yards or something crazy. I don't know. And then they go to Wisconsin and show control in that game. So Penn State's good. They're a good team. I think we knew that going into the season. It's a matter of how good. And really, when you talk about national picture, Ohio State's in the national picture as far as being that elite, one of 4 teams that can win the title, where Penn State was really never that way. But it's still a tough game to go to Penn State. I've been there, done that. It was a day game. They're a different team at home versus when you play them in your house. When you play in the shoe, they're a different team versus playing at their house in State College. They just show up differently.
Well, and it shows this year that they've got a chance. Certainly, I mean, Vegas certainly has Ohio State as a favorite, Tim. But you've talked to Ryan Day, and you probably saw him last night. Did you sense anything? He seems very focused. I don't think he leans into the old not winning the big game or being on the wrong side of big games. All he can do is coach this one. And what did you get a sense of the feeling of the old big game Ryan Day and how badly he needs this one?
He set that out from the beginning of the season of what it means to win the Big Ten championship and then get the bye in the college football playoff. And he's left no secret this week that this is a must-win game as far as he is concerned. And he's not talking necessarily about his mojo, his future, whatever you want to call it. For this particular football team to get to where it wants to go, it's got to win today. And he's made no secret with us. I'm sure he's made no secret with it, with his team, because this is a key moment. And we always looked on the schedule. We always saw the game at Oregon 3 weeks ago. It's just funny sitting here right now, and it kind of has the look here a little bit with the mountains in the background and stuff. It kind of feels like almost the same trip in terms of the setting and the ambiance, because this is one of the great places in the world to play a football game in terms of the home crowd advantage, et cetera, like that. And it's not deja vu again, but the bottom line is he set in almost etched in stone that this team's goal is to win the Big Ten championship and then get the bye in the first round of the playoffs and go on from there. So yeah, he's put the pressure on himself as much as anything else. I mean, of course, there's outside noise. There always is with Ohio State football, but without a doubt, he knows what's up today.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm not telling you if Ohio State loses this game, they couldn't circle the wagons and come out of the 6 or 7 hole and win a national title. But if they lose this game, the confidence certainly would be like, boy, where would your confidence be coming from other than they still have talent?
It would be hard. It would be hard to play for the Big Ten championship, considering they went to Oregon, lost. If they lose this game, Penn State has, after this game, has Washington at home. They go to Purdue, they go to Minnesota, and then they have Maryland to finish the season. They should win. If they beat Ohio State today,
they'd have to have a letdown.
They should win every game going forward. And because of the head-to-head, Ohio State wouldn't play in the Big Ten Championship.
This is never, ever anything you'd want to put out publicly, but a lot of people talked about, with the expanded playoff, you could spin it positively that even though you wouldn't be in that game, that you wouldn't have to play that game either.
True.
There'd be one other game you wouldn't have to play.
But on top of that, Ohio State has not played for the Big Ten Championship in 3 straight years. I mean, there's all kinds of, like you're talking about. You talk about who's the pressure more on. I mean, Ryan Day feels it. I mean, he knows he wants his team playing for a Big Ten Championship. He doesn't want to back into the playoffs. I mean, but once that's all settled, then you'll take the playoffs any way you can get them, right? But with Indiana sitting out there looming right now, I mean, it's when Ohio State needs to win out is basically the calling card as far as it's concerned.
Absolutely.
They do. It's one of those things where I just go back to, if they lose today, then we start questioning, are they really who we thought they could be, instead of just dealing with Ryan Day and the pressure and him losing another big game. I think then we take it to another level. Are they really as advertised? Well, we don't know. And I think so there's a lot that comes out of this game, obviously, if you take the L. But we always come back to it, probably not an eliminator. Little Indiana, if Ohio State's clinging to, it's amazing that they actually need them to not fall into a trap over the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Because Indiana's now, the deeper you go into a season undefeated, the more the pressure starts to mount. The Indiana story has been great.
Especially if you're not used to it.
Yes. And they're at Michigan State today, and they're a favorite. Michigan State's kind of showing a little life now.
Right.
And Indiana's more than a touchdown favorite. And they got Michigan next week, Indiana. And Curtis Ork's coming back. But Ohio State actually needs Indiana. If they lose this game today, keep winning. We need you to be a fringe top 10 team when you come to Columbus.
For sure.
It's weird because Ohio State wouldn't have the schedule, but they'd still get in, right? Like 10-2, they got to get in. Or am I?
I would think, yeah. I mean,
yeah, they got to be a top 12 team in the country.
And I know that this may not have the goals of a lot of people, but it'd be really awesome to host a playoff game in the shoe. How cool!
And the bottom line is Ohio State's one loss was by 1 point to right now the number 1 team in the country.
Correct.
So, what you can't afford is a deep scar on that. One of the two being a deep scar, which is why I'm still surprised. That it's never over till it's over, as the old saying goes. But Alabama's sitting there with a ridiculous loss on its schedule. Its only claim to fame is it beat Georgia, but a ridiculous loss on its schedule. And so you would think when they, for today, Ohio State's got every intention of winning this football game today. But if it's a close game, like a lot of people are predicting, and it goes the other way, then Ohio State looks a lot better than it would if it's a big black eye.
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, all losses are created equal here in Columbus, Ohio. And they shouldn't be.
That's true.
But they all are. Your kickoff forecast is sponsored by Byers Auto. Come see why it's better to buy from Byers. 51 degrees, mostly sunny in Happy Valley. Top out about 57 in the fourth quarter in State College, PA. We will come back and handicap this one. We'll get him on the bat phone, or in this case, the bet phone. Scotty Vegas next. The Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show right here on the Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. To inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns, call 614-232-2222. Or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else. Like the best-selling RAV4. Now through November 4th, get 4.99 APR financing on a new gas-powered 2024 RAV4. Or lease a RAV4 LE for $339 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details. Or go to Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Gambling too much? Or just can't seem to cut your losses? I'm Abdullah Mahmood, pub and gambling counselor at Maryhaven. Whether it's you or someone you love, we're here to help you control gambling before it controls you. With in-person, virtual, and group options, Maryhaven is here for you no matter what. And that's a bet you can actually count on this football season. Confidential and judgment-free, go to Maryhaven.com today. That's Maryhaven.com.
Hey, it's Anthony. If you want to make the best deal in town on a new Honda, make sure you visit my friends at your main Honda of Dublin. They're on Sawmill Road, just south of 270. And Rich tells me you're going to get 1.90% APR up to 60 months on most new 24s and 25 Hondas. They'll give you the details. Of course, you'll get same-day service, no appointment needed. And how about an extra $1,000 for your trade if you have a 2014 or newer vehicle? All with the great people at your main Honda of Dublin.
How big of a Jackets fan are you? Like, scary big? Prove it. Show us you were the biggest CBJ fan and you could win tickets to the Stadium Series at the Horseshoe. Head to 971thefan.com now through November 3rd at 11:59 p.m. to enter. Do it.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne, Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players. We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs, providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors. Contact us today for the best service in town. Bourne Brothers, the real local trash company. Taking out the trash.
What's better than cheering the Buckeyes on to victory? Wearing our exclusive collection of OSU jewelry as you watch. Hi, this is Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. We're an officially licensed jeweler of The Ohio State University, and we've created beautiful Buckeye jewelry that will last a lifetime. From Blocko earrings to Diamond Script Ohio necklaces, we've got luxury Buckeye gifts starting at $99. No matter where you're watching, show your Buckeye love at the Diamond Cellar, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Football season is here, and so is tailgating season. Are you ready? If not, let Columbus Car Audio and Accessories help you get the latest and best accessories for your ride. Upgrade your sound system so everyone around can hear what team you're rooting for. Add mobile video and never miss a game on the road. Add style and privacy with window tint, and avoid scraping ice this winter by adding a remote starter. Choose Columbus Car Audio and Accessories when it comes to customizing your ride. Morse Road near Easton, Main Street in Reynoldsburg, or columbuscaraudio.com.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT.
If you're listening to the Buckeyes, you're listening to us. Your home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan.
All right, back at it. Hollywood Casino Columbus watch party. Come on out today. Watch it on the big screens with us. Make your bets, win some cash, eat some great food, and hang out with Buckeye Nation here with us. Analytics on this game, if you believe in that kind of stuff, is Ohio State wins the game. They've got an 88% chance of making the playoff. I would think it's even higher than that. 49% with a loss, so then you're flipping a coin. At least that's what the analytics say. But let's dive into this one with the handicapper to the stars, our friend Scotty Vegas. Will also be joining us over here at Hollywood Casino Columbus for the game. Scotty, good to have you, my man.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. It's money-making Saturday. Here we go, another big one.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of people are leaning in a certain way. When this was 3.5, and I think it's down to 3 now, but when it was 3.5, I think there was a heavy lean towards taking the points. These games have been close, and you can say what you want about James Franklin. He has been horrible in this series, but you know what he's been good at, Scotty? Covering. I think he's like 7-3, so he's actually covered in this game, bigger proportion. Where did you stand on when it was 3.5, and has your mind changed now that Ohio State's only laying 3?
You know what, Anthony? It's funny because when I was doing my show on Sunday morning after that Ohio State-Nebraska game, and that initial line came out, it actually came out at Ohio State minus 4.5. And that was after, obviously, Ohio State played so poorly against Nebraska, and Penn State had the win over Wisconsin. So it was like, really? Coming out at 4.5? That seems high. And then, obviously, throughout the week, it went down to 3.5. And you're right, as we're standing right now, it is Ohio State minus 3, minus 155 on the money line, and then Penn State's plus 135 on the money line. So a $100 bet on Ohio State just to win the game pays back 64. I mean, the thing for me, Anthony, and I've been asking pretty much everybody I run into, is what percentage chance do you give the Buckeyes to win? And honestly, Anthony, I kind of landed, this is a 50-50 game. So for me, you know, the fact that you're getting points, kind of surprising. I thought it'd be closer to a pick or at least below that key number of 3.
I think the reason that it probably started out at 4.5, despite the stinker win against Nebraska, was probably the uncertainty at quarterback for Penn State at that point.
No question. No question. And look, I mean, you've talked about it all morning. Penn State has been bad against Ohio State, right? I mean, 7 straight for the Buckeyes going back to 2012. Ohio State is 11-1 straight up against Penn State in their last 12 and 18-4 since 2002. So they've been so dominant over the series. I am kind of curious, Andy, to get your take on this. So Ohio State has obviously dominated this series, winning 18 of the last 22. But, Andy, as a player, does that matter at all to you? Like, do you ever go into a game thinking, okay, well, this team's dominated that team, so this comes into play at all? I mean, I'm just curious, as a player, does it factor in?
Yes. I'll say, simply put, yes. Like, you know that there's just certain teams that you have a harder time playing against for whatever reason, or you have a harder time beating. So yeah, I would say it's definitely in the back of their minds. And then when if things get tough, you start to weigh that variable in as far as, you know, having to get over that hurdle that has been a struggle in years past as well.
It's interesting because I think what we're trying to tap into is, to the players on this current team, are they sold that narrative of, are they aware that Ohio State's won 7 in a row? Or do they care? Is it sold to them? Do they have that kind of feeling? Or do they just kind of inherently know the history? Like,
I think so. You're aware of the history. You're aware of the challenge of trying to overcome a certain team. And then you can even play through and then this happened with me and at Ohio State with Michigan. Like, we were just as good freshman year. We were just as good, you know, my sophomore year, going up to Michigan, but going into those games, there was just a different vibe as far as throughout the week, and then as far as preparation. So you could tell that it was more important to the coaches just by what they were saying and how they were installing certain things and how the practices were flowing, and it wasn't as lighthearted and so you could just feel like there was more pressure from them. Going into my junior year, there was actually less pressure. I think because we already lost to Michigan State, and we knew that we had the better team, and we went in there, and they came in the shoe, and we whooped them. So really, it's dictated by the staff, and you know, in this day and age, by social media and all the sports, you know, sports media pundits and the conversation. So kids are aware, but at the same time, you just have to kind of get through it.
Scotty, there's always been a play or something in this game, a defensive score, a pick six, something that changes the game as far as the total and all that, even games that are kind of grinded out, you think they're going to go under, and then you get, a wild play or a turnover. Where do you stand on the 47.5 total points?
It's funny, Anthony. It's just a number that I feel like it stays under that in this matchup. But, gosh, with all the question marks with Ohio State, with the offensive line and the Drew Aller question mark, there's just so many questions. It's a total that I would stay away from. I'll tell you what I think's been kind of interesting this week is kind of checking out the national championship odds. Because Ohio State obviously had that kind of dicey game, I guess best way to put it, last week against Nebraska. And you think, across Buckeye Nation here in Columbus, there's a lot of people that think, okay, this isn't a championship team. Well, the amazing thing is, despite the fact that they lost to Oregon, despite the fact that they looked so bad against Nebraska, they still have the second best odds to win the national championship. So it's really bunched up. Georgia's right there. They're still the favorite at plus 360. But Ohio State's not far behind at plus 425. And they're still ahead of Oregon. Oregon plus 450 to win it all. Texas 5-1. And then Penn State 14-1. It'll be interesting, Anthony, after this game, how those lines change. Because if Ohio State wins this game, I think there's a good chance they go back to being the national championship favorite. However, if they lose this game, and there's a really good chance, you guys were talking about this, you lose this game, I think you said it was a 49% chance of making the college football playoff. And it's hard to believe that, Anthony. I mean, just sitting here, going into this year, the fact that Ohio State lose today, and they are up against it to make a 12-team playoff. When's the last time Ohio State would not have made a 12-team playoff? It's been forever.
You think they fall out of bed and they're one of the top 12 teams in the country. And I pointed out earlier that it's amazing. I pointed this out a couple of weeks ago that if you're clinging to the little Indiana Hoosiers as your key to getting in, which it might turn out to be that way, no one would have thought that up before the season. But Ohio State's still going to win a lot of tiebreakers in that committee room. A 10-2 Ohio State team with a win over a top 15 Indiana team would certainly, to me, be a better than 49% chance, but that's where the analytics say right now.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we talked about Penn State struggles against Ohio State. I mean, there's no doubt Ohio State facing top 10 teams has been a disaster. It's been really tough. So since 2018, they are amongst the worst in the country against the spread. 6-14-1 against the spread, including, Anthony, believe it or not, covering just 2 of their last 10 against top 10 teams. So we know the struggles. We know the struggles Penn State's had against Ohio State, but we also know the struggles Ohio State's had against the elite teams.
Yeah, by the way, how's that third quarter thing going for you, Scotty?
Oh, the third quarter bet, Scotty.
So, yeah, I took a lot of flack for that call last week. But you know what? I went into it. Ohio State was 84-0 in the third quarter, and so I declare it the lock of the week. And so what happens? They have perhaps the worst offensive third quarter you'd ever see. I mean, it was pathetic.
Correct.
I don't think they gained a first down in the third quarter.
Yeah, they lost the third quarter 3-0.
Barely gained a yard in the whole quarter.
Thanks, Scotty.
Well, maybe your lock was do the opposite. That was the lock.
Right.
You forgot to add that disclaimer.
Today? What's the lock today?
Is there a lock today?
Well, in this game, honestly, it's about moving points for me. I think this is going to be a field goal game either way. If I were to do it, I would probably move the Penn State line to probably 7.5 and feel pretty good about that, and then maybe move the total down. So if you move the Penn State to plus 7.5 and then kind of move that total potentially to over 40, I kind of like that play.
Okay, my man. We'll see you out here at the watch party. Thanks.
Can't wait.
Yep, that's Scotty Vegas, our man, handicapping it for you today. Game day coverage is sponsored by Reichert Chevrolet. When we come back, the keys to the game, and we'll lay them out for you right here on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Every hockey player dreams of a hat trick.
And if you've ever seen one, you know it's a thrill when the hats hit the ice.
And now, it's hats off to Honda Marysville, because this season, every time a Blue Jacket scores a hat trick at Nationwide Arena,
Honda Marysville will give one lucky fan a 2-year lease on a new Honda Civic Sport on the spot.
So come to a game and cheer us on. Who knows?
A new car from Honda Marysville might be closer than you think.
Official rules at HondaMarysville.com/hat trick.
At KeyBank, we know a small moment like,
what's it like to have a yard?
Can lead to an even bigger question like,
am I ready to buy a home?
And that's the type of moment where we'll meet you, prepared to talk about everything you need to know when applying for a mortgage, so you can try to turn those backyard dreams into reality. Paul?
Yes?
Question. Are you a hammock person?
You know, I think I might be.
For every financial need, we'll meet you in the moment. KeyBank opens doors. NMLS 399797, Equal Housing Lender.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Kurgis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Kurgis & Associates. Attorneys who care.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money Sunday morning at 9.
Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility. The Fan.
Bobcat Enterprises is your family-owned partner for landscaping and construction projects. Bobcat Enterprises sells and services a full line of Bobcat equipment, including compact track loaders, excavators, tractors, and more. Plus, Bobcat rents compact equipment and attachments. With Bobcat, you can rent the machine and own the results. Keep your business local. Stop by Bobcat Enterprises in Hilliard, Reynoldsburg, or Zanesville, and find current specials and our full line of products by visiting bobcatent.com today. People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I could not imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life.
There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
When the leaves fall, so do the prices at Valley. Right now, choose from over 1,000 available new Fords. Take your pick from over 70 2024 Ford Broncos at up to $14,000 off. Lease a new Escape Active, just $289 a month for 36 months. Drive away a new Bronco Sport, over 80 to choose from, starting at only $26,990. Get to Valley Ford of Columbus today, the official dealership of Carnell Tate.
Keep on trucking with Valley Ford of Columbus.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. This is the Fans Game Day Scoreboard.
Brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus.
Good morning. Buddy Wells. We had one top 25 team in action last night as number 15 Boise State rolled San Diego State 56-24. Ashton Genty had 149 yards and 2 touchdowns to help the Broncos improve to 7-1. Taking a look at today's college football slate, of course, the biggest game of the day takes place in Happy Valley. That's where 4th-ranked Ohio State will take on number 3 Penn State. The Buckeyes and Nittany Lions kick off at noon today at Beaver Stadium. Other top 5 teams in action today. Number 1 Oregon is in Ann Arbor to face Michigan. Also, number 2 Georgia faces Florida and Jacksonville. Those 2 games will kick off at 3:30. Also at noon today, Duke is in South Beach to take on number 5 Miami. One other top 25 matchup today has number 18 Pittsburgh taking on number 20 SMU. That game kicks off at 8 o'clock tonight. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, your connection for the best selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified used vehicles. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
Hello, I like football. I have nothing clever to say. This is the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Today's keys to the game are sponsored by Toyota.
Brought to you by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. Visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
All right, back at it as we start to fill in here at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Big watch party coming up for the game today at high noon. Our keys to the game sponsored by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. Visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Anthony Rothman, Andy Katzenmoyer, Tim May in Happy Valley. I think the number one for all of us is going to be, can this O-line hold up against this defensive front of Penn State? It seems like the key to everything. It's the key to running. It's the key to passing. It's all of that. Our confidence in it is almost like we got to see it to believe it. We haven't seen it. We didn't see it last week, and we didn't see it certainly in this game a year ago against Penn State. And when you got 2 of the best backs in the country, you need an offensive line. They'll need it today, Andy. We talked about the creativity it's going to take, but you brought up a key during the break on just trying to change things up scheme-wise and just try to somehow help them be great today. So how do you do that?
Well, I think first and foremost, you have to see what Penn State has already done in the past against the type of offense you have, and then try to forecast what they'll try to do against you. And then once you get in the game, so that kind of dictates going into the game, like what your game plan is going to be, and then you have to make adjustments accordingly. So I hope that to me, Ohio State has enough ability on the outside and the perimeter to give more protection to the quarterback when needed, and you can win instead of having 5 or 6 guys out. 4 guys, out like running routes. You can maybe have 2 or 3, spread the field out and give Will Howard more time in the pocket, more comfort. I don't know if you have to move the pocket around necessarily, but as far as instead of, if you watched last week and in prior games, we block a lot of one-on-one on the offensive line. And if defenses know that, you can blitz accordingly and rush accordingly. Where we can start doing some zone blocking where you step to a side, and if someone comes to you, then you block to a certain side you're stepping to. If no one's there, you can then look back inside to help. I think if we do that, as well as keep a tight end or a back end to help kind of chip on certain players, those kind of things can be done to give Will Howard more time, more than he had last week, which was not very much, and then go from there. As far as running the ball, I'd say same thing: run inside, outside zone, run power game, and then throw the wrinkle in as far as running the quarterback. Yeah, well, the cliche, the best defense is a great offense, and maybe today the best running game will be a great passing game. Who knows? Tim, give me your take on that. The stars have shined in this game before, whether it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or Benjamin Victor or somebody making a big play on both sides. But when you have Jeremiah Smith, you usually have the advantage, and you can't imagine that he's not going to be able to make some sort of impact. They've got to design stuff for him, but like Andy said, it's about holding up. But they're going to have to give him his chances today against that defensive secondary of Penn State.
Yeah, the thing you want to do is kind of the opposite. You want to make them have to defend Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, perhaps a tight end down the seam, just different things, perhaps a running back running a little wheel route or even a cross route out of the delayed cross route out of the backfield and stuff. Throw some wrinkles at them you haven't really shown in the first several games, and one of which would be that one, getting Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins off a chip, just flipping around and getting them in space with a quick little flip pass. So there are all kinds of ways you can rob Peter to pay Paul today. If in fact you feel you need to do that, but the main thing is you want them to respect the passing game, which helps you in some respect to try to establish a run game. And sometimes it's just like if the brick wall is there, don't keep running into it, go around it, and kind of like what Schwarzkopf did over in way back when, in 1990. You don't run over the trench. They built these trenches. You run around the trenches. And I would think Ohio State, you're going to see Ohio State maybe try to do some of that. But Andy, you can speak to this too, and we talked to Lachey about this. I mean, sometimes the best thing to do for a young offensive lineman is just keep it simple and block straight ahead. By straight ahead, you know what I mean by that. I mean, just give some running, just some power run, simple plays to get everybody kind of going, because everybody else on the offensive line is a veteran. If Carson Hinsman starts today, he's a veteran. So these guys aren't exactly newbies, and across the front. So, play your game. It's the interesting thing. You see if Penn State is robbing anything from what they saw from Nebraska last week from a defensive front situation, because Penn State usually doesn't play that style. So, but you use what works too, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a copycat league. Like the NFL, it's been that way for years, and then I think even college football, even going back to when I played, it's copycat. We ran a defense called a Field Falcon 3-anchor, which then became known as the NCAA Blitz because everyone ran it. And whether it's me and Antoine Winfield out of the nickel or if you can think back in your Ohio State fandom, the game against Arizona State, we ran that a lot, and there was a lot of times where Ron Roquet had to either block me or Antoine Winfield, and no matter what, he's going to pick the wrong dude. And so, regardless, if Penn State comes out and if the fans see this, if the fans see a defensive tackle over our center and then 2 defensive tackles on the outside shade of the guards, know that Penn State, that's a bare front. Know that Penn State is copying what Nebraska did, because that's what Nebraska did last week.
I do think borrowing from people is the right move, and I don't have to go that far. I can go back to last week that Wisconsin, I thought they had some early success against Penn State when they would gap scheme like you were talking about, and they would pull a backside guard, and they would also have the tight end coming over, and one guy kicked out the defender, the tight end did, was kind of H, and he would kick out, and then the pulling guard would kind of pin somebody, and you created something in a gap scheme that I think Ohio State, now Tim's could do, but I think Tim's point is maybe you don't get too complicated right away and try to mess things up. But I did see Wisconsin, Andy, have great success against Penn State running the ball with that scheme last week, early.
Well, but Wisconsin is a ground and pound. They want to run the ball first, and then they don't have the weaponry in the perimeter that we have. So, I mean, I guess, again, it's the pregame, in-game adjustments that is so fascinating about why this kind of matchup is.
How do you feel as a former linebacker with this senior tight end, Tyler Warren, leads all power conferences, I think, in tight ends with catches and yards, and they line him up wide, they'll bring him in motion. The challenge he will be for this defense
he's a mismatch kind of guy. He's a big athlete that can run, that can catch, that can make plays. So the hard part is how do you guard him? I think we have, between our linebackers and our safeties, we have adequate personnel to limit him, but I don't think you can hold him back.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Jim Knowles tries to at least slow him down or take him away, because Ohio State linebackers or safeties that have to cover him will be very interesting. All right, those are your keys to the game. When we come back, we will do a final check-in in the booth with the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels, give our score predictions and final keys. This is the Kurgis & Associates Fan Tailgate Show. Remember, they don't get paid unless you get paid, right here on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. With more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, anything's possible. Like the family-size Highlander with room for up to 8. Now through November 4th, you can lease a Highlander XLE all-wheel drive for $489 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Combat falling interest rates now. Lock in a 7-month certificate from Kemba Financial Credit Union and earn up to 4.5% annual percentage yield. Visit Kemba.org for details. Hurry! This exceptional rate offer expires December 31st, 2024. APY equals annual percentage yield. Restrictions apply. $500 minimum deposit required to open and earn stated APY and $250,000 maximum deposit. Advantage status required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina. And at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
Attention, small business or sole proprietors. Do you want to save money on health care for your business? Be able to cover your employees with the best dental, doctors, and hospitals? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter for the SACA Benefit Plan. Nearly 100,000 members strong in the state of Ohio. The SACA Benefit Plan is administered by Anthem and could be right for you. Small businesses, visit 844-medohio.com. That's medohio.com. The SACA Benefit Plan could be right for you. Visit 844-medohio.com.
Taking out the trash. That's what we're all about at Bourne Brothers Waste Services. This is Justin Bourne,
Zach Bourne, and Jacoby Bourne, former Ohio State football players.
We are your company for all of your trash and recycling needs.
Providing services that include front-load containers, mini and large roll-offs, and compactors.
Contact us today for the best service in town.
Bourne Brothers.
Bourne Brothers.
The real local trash company.
Taking out the trash.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Hi, I'm Laura De Leon, president of Key Bank in Central Ohio. Here at Key, we believe in providing a helping hand in our community. While helping hands are wonderful, a helping bank is even better. That's a bank committed to solving people's financial needs, but it doesn't stop there. We advocate, we support, we listen, and we volunteer. That's a bank that is always ready to meet you in the moment. Key Bank opens doors.
Key Bank, member FDIC.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A clear and cool start to your Saturday morning with light winds, temperatures in the mid-30s. During the afternoon, plenty of sunshine, light winds back in low 60s. And then for Sunday, more sunshine, a few late-day clouds, and the chance of a shower Sunday night. High temperatures in the upper 60s. With your Doppler 10 forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
Chicken wings, check. Drinks, check. Listening to The Fan, check. It must be game day.
Sponsored by Reichert Chevy.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. Brought Rothman wakes up every morning next to a bottle of gin and says, today's a good day for a Buckeye victory. Well, today he happens to be right. You're listening to the Curtis and Associates Fan Tailgate Show.
Curtis and Associates, attorneys who care. Call 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Tell you what I like to wake up to is that Hollywood Casino brunch I just saw being served out here.
Looks fantastic.
That thing is tremendous. Paul Keels, our final check-in, is sponsored by Buyers Imports, Hamilton Road, by the airport. All right, Big Daddy, what do you have coming up?
Well, coming up, as always, we'll hear from both head coaches, Ryan Day from Ohio State and James Franklin from Penn State. The Buckeyes offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, will talk about what they need to do to get things going in the right direction. Clay Hall will talk with Ohio State safety Caleb Downs about the way he's played as of late. We'll hear from Steve Jones, the play-by-play voice of the Nittany Lions, about what this season, an undefeated season to date, has been like for Penn State. We'll also hear from James Grega, the head coach of the Ohio State club football team, who is undefeated, and they've already clinched a postseason berth. And as always, we will have our award-winning, world-famous, Baked Alaska, unrivaled, Bookham Dano, Oingo Boingo, you guys playing cards version of Buckeye Flashback with Hall of Famer Skip Mossick. That's coming up shortly.
That sounds good. So you'll have lots to talk about.
That sounds
lots
great. To talk about.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, guys.
We'll have a great call. All right, we are back at it, inching closer to the end of this show, and then we'll hand it over to them. All right, Annie, let me get a little bit of defensive strategy from you today. It appeared from all of us they ran a lot of that cover one. They were blitzing while in cover one. Ohio State was last week, kind of utilizing the safety in the middle of the field, underneath defenders kind of in man. I guess that leaves an extra defender as a free player. So I guess what do you expect out of Jim Knowles against this offense? And I guess it does depend. I'll give you the disclaimer on who's playing quarterback, right?
Correct.
Drew Aller or Pregame. I mean, he came in and ran a lot. He was a pretty good running quarterback. I guess, it's hard. I could ask it this way. Who would you rather face? Rather face Aller, who's deemed as a better quarterback, better passer, or the kid that's a little more of a wild card?
I would say the wild card just because of experience level. But I think the important thing for the Ohio State defense this week is make sure that because they brought pressure quite a bit last week. They brought up all different kinds of stuff, different angles, some safety, some linebackers, they were trying different things. But when they rush, they have to make sure that you have to have aggression and try to get the quarterback with intent, but also not be so out of control that you lose your pass rush lane. And a lot of big plays were made just by the quarterback, the seas parting and the quarterback just stepping up and, taking what's been given to him, whether it's, 2 or 3 yards or it could be a 30-yard run. I think there has to be a game plan around making sure that you stay aggressive but in your lane. But also, I really want to see the defense today go back to flying to the football. I would love to see 11 silver bullets around the ball or running to the ball every single time. Don't take for granted, Caleb Downs or whoever to make the play. Run like every down counts, because it does, especially in this kind of game.
Yeah, the intensity that they should be bringing to the table today. We should not be searching for that.
It's been lacking the last few weeks.
We should not be searching for that today. Not this one. Not after a stinker win and a loss, a good loss and a stinker win. So they've covered both extremes the last few weeks. Tim, I'll ask you. Drew Aller's expected to play. He had a big game at USC, had the 390 yards passing. He'd have 3 picks in it, though. We know those are available. But he had the big game-winning drive I mentioned earlier at USC where he had to complete those 2 big fourth-down passes. Bo Pregame, he's averaging 6.3 yards per carry as a quarterback. Will they both play today? Is that what you're anticipating?
I'm anticipating that because there's no way Drew Aller's probably 100%. And number 2, they got some things out of Pregame that they didn't necessarily get out of Drew Aller last week at Wisconsin. Now, Pregame benefited because he threw the ball into some windows that probably won't be that open today. So we'll see if he comes out and makes a few mistakes in that regard. But yeah, I would think we'd see both their quarterbacks. The interesting thing I wanted to, I talked with Caleb Downs about this on Wednesday and wrote a little story for today on Bud Monroe. Is that his approach to a game like this is everybody play their 1/11th. And if the play comes to you like happened with him a few times last week, and it's happened to him occasionally through the first half of the season, is you make that play. You stay sound, as Andy was alluding to a while ago. You don't get blocked out of your lane, and you make that play, and that's what he's counting on. Because, Penn State's going to throw a lot of window dressing at him, like that number 71, lining up wide, right or left, and behind the line of scrimmage and coming in motion and trying to lead a cavalry charge around the edge and stuff. You just got to count on the guys to read their keys and don't be distracted, by what they call window dressing or the hood ornaments that they're going to throw at you, because they're going to do that with this. Kofinicus, this new offensive coordinator, is very good at creating ghosts, for want of another term. Don't chase ghosts.
Yeah. On the flip side, Andy, I think Ohio State, the misdirection that I was pointing out to you very early in the season against overmatched opponents, I think that works tonight or works today. When you have an athletic defense like Penn State is, more athletic, and aggressive, misdirection really can work, and they may need to do it. With the way this offensive line is. But I like Tim's mention of Caleb Downs, because in the running game against Singleton and Allen today, and of course Warren, the kid that we just talked about, he may have to cover him a little bit too. This may be a Caleb Downs game.
Honestly, for me, what I'd like to see offensively is obviously establish the run, but try to throw the ball down the middle of the field. It's an easier throw. You don't need
a classic Penn State Ohio State game when that ball goes in the middle of the field.
But middle of the field, and you can do that all kinds of ways, but it's an easier throw, and it's harder to defend as a defense because the ball's not in the air as long. So, I think today's going to be a fantastic game.
They always are.
Yeah.
They always seem.
Unfortunately.
No. The good part is Penn State always mans up and plays well in this game, but Ohio State always wins.
Right.
So that's the way it's been. So we kind of know.
Let's hope that trend continues. Yes.
All right, Tim.
Except for something bizarre. Yeah.
Right. Well, no. Always add something bizarre on top, man. What's your score prediction, Tim?
I've got Ohio State being the better team. I've got Ohio State winning 31-24 and moving on.
Ooh.
Okay, a little more high scoring than probably I'm going to go. Where are you going, Big Cat?
So just so you know, this is before I knew about the spread. I guessed 27-21.
27-21. Ohio State, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I'm going 24-20 Ohio State, just in a classic. For our guys, Dan and Cam, our dynamic early morning duo, thank you. Jacob back in the studio, awesome job. For the Big Cat and Tim May, I'm Anthony Rothman. Enjoy Buckeye football right here on The Fan.
One, two, three. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
Dormar, your pilot hero. Man, it's cold in here. Dad, did you call Dormar to have your yearly furnace maintenance?
Call who?
Dormar.
Huh?
Call Dormar.
Gosh, bless it, Red. He said to close the garage door more.
You two are unbelievable. I'm calling Dormar.
Tell them to bring me a filter.
You did hear me, right?
Yep, but your mom doesn't need to know.
Call 614-238-6689.
Dormar, your pilot hero.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck. Now through November 4th, get 1.9 APR financing or $2,000 customer cash on a new 24 Tundra. Excludes TRD Pro. Or lease a Tacoma SR Double Cab for $319 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Nobody builds better trucks than Toyota. Let's go places.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Kurgis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Kurgis & Associates. Attorneys who care.
1 in 3 student athletes gets disturbing messages from sports bettors. This threatens the safety and mental health of college athletes like Tyler.
I'm a student and an athlete. I don't deserve to be threatened over my play. If you're upset about your sports bet, don't take it out on me, because I'm more than a bet.
These threats are not acceptable. Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
Reichert Chevy's dealing in Dublin. That means we got the car you need at the price you want. But don't take it from me. Hear it from
Ohio State captain Travion Henderson.
Reichert has what I'm looking for.
Jack Sawyer.
Grew up watching these guys on TV. My family's bought tons of cars for them.
Cody Simon.
You get the right car at Reichert. With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car.
$2,500 low price guarantee.
Shop hundreds of vehicles at ReichertChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive. We're dealing.
Celebrate football season with the one and only Schmitz. A Columbus tradition like no other, Schmitz has been serving up delicious Bahama Mamas, sausages, cream puffs, and more for well over a century. Stop into the historic German Village restaurant for lunch or dinner. And after your meal, bring home the most delicious tailgate spread for the big weekend. Schmitz Sausage Haus in historic German Village or online at schmidthaus.com. Why tailgate when you can Schmidtgate? Innovation is at the heart of every Polestar car, and their electric SUV, Polestar 3, is no different. From the intuitive infotainment system to its head-turning design, Polestar 3 is for drivers unwilling to compromise. That means merging a spacious, luxurious interior with the torque and handling of a sports car. Visit Polestar Columbus today for competitive lease offers and book a test drive for Polestar 3 at polestarcolumbus.com.
Calling all whiskey lovers, join me at 97.1 The Fan for an exclusive, unforgettable night at High Bank Distillery on Tuesday, November 12th. Experience exclusive fan barrel picks selected by yours truly, delicious food, signature cocktails all night long. Get first dibs on getting bottles signed by some of your favorite Ohio athletes. Proceeds benefit local superstar and Fox Big Noon Kickoffs Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, helping veterans and their families. So get your tickets now at 971thefan.com today. Must be 21 or older. Drink responsibly.